The invisible chains you never see coming. Imagine this. You wake up one day, and every thought you have isn't really yours anymore. Your choices, your beliefs, even the people you love, all carefully shaped by someone who never raised their voice, never forced you, never used a single chain. That's the power of dark psychology. It doesn't shackle your body, it shackles your mind. And what makes it terrifying? Most people never even realize it's happening until it's too late. Cult leaders aren't just charismatic speakers, they're master psychologists. They understand human weakness better than we do. They know what we crave, what we fear, and how to make us hand over control willingly, while thinking it was our idea all along. And the truth is, this isn't just happening in cults. These same tactics show up in relationships, workplaces, politics, even social media influencers. You've probably been touched by it without even noticing. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the exact psychological tricks cult leaders use, so you can see the chains before they ever touch your mind. And to guide us, we'll lean on the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher who said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot manipulation in real time and build an unshakable mental fortress no cult leader, or anyone else, can break. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change the way you see every conversation you have from this day forward. Why smart people still fall for cults. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Intelligence doesn't make you immune to manipulation. In fact, in some cases, the smarter you are, the more vulnerable you can be. Why? Because intelligence often brings confidence. Confidence that says, "I'd never fall for that. I'm too smart." And that confidence becomes the perfect blind spot for a skilled manipulator. Cult leaders don't look for weak people. They look for searchers. People craving meaning, belonging, or certainty in a chaotic world. Think about it. We all hit moments in life when we feel lost. Maybe you've gone through a painful breakup. Maybe your career feels meaningless. Or maybe you just feel invisible, like nothing you do matters. Those moments create a psychological hunger. And hunger makes us vulnerable. When someone shows up offering answers, purpose, and a community that truly understands you, that's like food to a starving soul. And this is where Marcus Aurelius' wisdom cuts through the noise. He said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." What does that mean here? It means that the power of a cult leader begins where your awareness ends. They feed on your unexamined pain, your unchecked assumptions, your desperate need for control. So, if you've ever thought, "I need someone to show me the way. I'll do anything to feel accepted. Finally, someone who understands me." Understand this. Those are not weaknesses, they're human instincts. But when those instincts run unchecked, they make you easy prey for anyone who knows how to pull the strings. And cult leaders? They've studied those strings like a master musician studies the strings of a violin. Voice softens, almost a whisper. The scariest part? You don't even feel the chains going on. You think you're freeing yourself, when in reality, you're walking into the cage and locking the door behind you. Next, we'll break down the first psychological weapon cult leaders use and why it works every single time. What you'll discover today. Before we dive deeper, let's make something clear. By the end of this video, you won't just understand how cult leaders operate. You'll be able to spot their tactics anywhere, in organizations, in influencers, even in toxic relationships. You'll learn how charisma becomes a weapon and why we all fall for it. The hidden power of love bombing and why it feels so irresistible. Why control often hides behind kindness. The psychological trick that turns obedience into loyalty without you noticing. And how ancient Stoic philosophy can be your ultimate defense against modern-day manipulation. This isn't just theory. These are dark psychology principles used by real cult leaders to control thousands, even millions of people. And you know what? They work because they don't look evil at all. They look like hope, clarity, belonging. But if you stick with me until the end, you'll see the matrix behind the illusion. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Like Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This video is about that strength, the ability to keep your mind your own, even when someone else tries to own it. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn could save you from falling for the most dangerous lie of all, the lie that sounds like truth. Ready? Let's start with the first and most seductive weapon in a cult leader's arsenal. When confidence becomes control. Have you ever met someone who seemed magnetic? Someone who walked into a room and every head turned. Not because of looks, but because of energy? That's charisma. And cult leaders master it like an art form. They don't just speak, they command attention without saying a word. Their tone is calm, yet powerful. Their eye contact, unshakable. When they talk to you, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's no accident. Psychologists call this personalized attention bias. Your brain craves being seen and valued. When someone gives you that in a world full of distraction, your defenses drop. But here's the dangerous part. Charisma feels like trust. It feels like truth, and that's why it works. Cult leaders weaponize charisma to create certainty in uncertain times. They'll stand in front of a crowd and say things like, I know the world feels broken. I know you feel lost, but I have the answer. And because their delivery is so confident, your brain mistakes confidence for competence. It's called the confidence heuristic, our natural bias to trust those who sound sure of themselves. Marcus Aurelius warned us about this nearly 2,000 years ago. He said, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know what they are talking about. In other words, just because someone sounds certain doesn't mean they're right. Here's the Stoic insight. Charisma is not a sign of truth. It's a sign of skill. And when skill is used without virtue, it becomes manipulation. So the next time you feel drawn to someone's energy, pause and ask, do their words align with reality or just with what I want to believe? Because charisma without truth is a hook, and the moment you bite, control begins. And speaking of control, the next tactic will blow your mind. Because it doesn't start with dominance. It starts with love, the sweet poison of devotion. Imagine walking into a room and being showered with praise. You're amazing. You're different from everyone else. We've been waiting for someone like you. It feels good, right? That overwhelming sense of belonging, of being seen, it's addictive. And cult leaders know it. This tactic is called love bombing. It's not just flattery, it's psychological conditioning. From day one, they make you feel like family. They give you attention, affection, even gifts. They tell you you're special, chosen, destined for something greater. Why? Because when your emotional tank is full, your logical mind takes a back seat. You stop questioning. You stop doubting. You start believing. But here's the dark truth. Love bombing isn't love. It's bait. Think about it. Real love is earned over time, through consistency and respect. But cult leaders compress months of connection into hours or days. It feels like magic, but it's manipulation. This works because of something called reciprocity bias, our brain's built-in urge to give back when we receive something. They give you attention, you give them loyalty. They make you feel safe, and suddenly, you're ready to trust them with everything. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And here's why that matters. When someone floods you with affection, don't just react emotionally. Pause. Ask yourself, why are they giving me so much, so soon? What do they want in return? Because in the world of cult psychology, every gift has a price. The attention you crave becomes the leash they pull. And once they have your loyalty, the next step is even darker, because now they'll break you down to rebuild you in their image. That's what we'll uncover next. The art of identity stripping. Imagine this. You've been love-bombed, adored, made to feel like the center of the universe. Your defenses are down. You trust them. And just when you feel safe, the tone changes. The compliments stop. The smiles fade. Suddenly, the same person who called you special begins to say, "You're not trying hard enough. You still carry your old, weak self. You need to let go of everything that's holding you back, your family, your friends, your identity." This is identity stripping, and it's one of the most powerful weapons in dark psychology. Cult leaders know that to control you, they have to erase who you were. They can't dominate a strong, independent thinker. So they start breaking you, emotionally, mentally, piece by piece. They isolate you. They make you doubt your past decisions. They criticize the old you so much that you start feeling ashamed of who you were. And then comes the kicker. They position themselves as the solution. The cult becomes your new family. Their ideology becomes your new identity. Why does this work so effectively? Because of a principle in psychology called ego depletion. When you're constantly told you're wrong, weak, or broken, your mental energy runs out. You stop fighting. And when you stop fighting, you start accepting. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But cult leaders invert this wisdom. They convince you that your mind is broken, and that only they can fix it. So, here's the truth. The moment you start believing someone has the authority to rewrite your identity, you've handed over the keys to your freedom. And once your old self is gone, the next step is indoctrination, the planting of new beliefs that will make you completely loyal for life. That's where we're heading next. Indoctrination and thought control. Once your old identity has been dismantled, the cult leader wastes no time. They move in quickly to plant something new, because an empty mind is fertile soil. This is indoctrination, the systematic programming of your thoughts until you no longer question, only obey. It starts subtly, phrases repeated like sacred mantras. True freedom is obedience. Questioning is ego. Sacrifice is strength. And when you hear these enough, your brain starts to believe them. This is the power of cognitive reframing, when repeated exposure rewires your reality. Cult leaders also use loaded language. Words like enlightenment, awakening, or purity become emotionally charged. They sound positive, but they carry hidden demands. Do what we say, and you will ascend. Resist, and you will fall. And here's where it gets chilling. They use group reinforcement. When you repeat the leader's words in front of others, and they nod, smile, and praise you, dopamine floods your system. You feel accepted, valued, safe. That's not an accident. It's engineered. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But indoctrination makes sure you are no longer the master of yourself. They break your ability to think independently and replace it with group think, a collective consciousness where questioning equals betrayal. Before you know it, you've adopted new beliefs. Your family? A threat to your spiritual growth. Your old dreams? Ego-driven illusions. Your leader? The only true guide to your destiny. And with those beliefs cemented, the cult has complete control. But here's the next level, the part that ensures you will never walk away. Fear-based compliance. That's the next dark psychology trick, making you afraid of even imagining a life without them. We'll break that down in the next section. Fear, guilt, and the invisible cage. Here's where cult psychology turns from persuasion to prison, and the bars aren't made of steel, they're built from fear. Once you're fully indoctrinated, the leader introduces what psychologists call phobia indoctrination, an invisible cage of fear that keeps you from leaving, even when the door is wide open. They tell you, if you leave, you'll be cursed. The outside world will destroy you. You'll lose everything, your purpose, your soul. It's brilliant in its cruelty because it weaponizes your own imagination against you. You don't need guards. You guard yourself. Next comes guilt conditioning. The cult convinces you that your worth comes only from obedience. Any doubt, any hesitation, any thought of leaving becomes a sin. They make you believe, if I walk away, I'm betraying everyone who loves me here. If I doubt the leader, I'm a failure. Fear and guilt become twin chains. One keeps you terrified of leaving. The other convinces you that even thinking about leaving makes you a bad person. And here's the darkest part. The cult doesn't just create fear of punishment. They create fear of freedom. After months or years in their system, the real world feels overwhelming. Decisions, responsibilities, independence. These once felt normal, but now they feel terrifying. You start to believe you need the leader to survive. Epictetus warned us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. The cult knows this truth and exploits it. They don't need walls or chains. They just need to control your opinions, because once they do, your mind becomes your own prison. But here's the question. How do you fight back? How do you recognize the red flags before it's too late? That's what we'll dive into in the next section. The warning signs of psychological manipulation, so you never fall into this trap again. Warning signs how to break free. The truth is, cult leaders rarely look like villains. They often appear kind, charismatic, and enlightened. That's why the first line of defense isn't avoiding bad people. It's recognizing bad patterns. Here are the psychological red flags that should make you pause. 1. Excessive flattery love bombing. If someone showers you with attention, validation, and promises of belonging too fast, too soon, ask why. Genuine trust takes time. Manipulation doesn't. 2. Isolation disguised as protection. When a group tries to separate you from friends and family under the excuse of protecting your energy or keeping you pure, that's a classic tactic. Freedom thrives in connection. Control thrives in isolation. 3. Fear-based obedience. If you notice a pattern where questioning the leader equals punishment, rejection, or being shamed, that's not spiritual growth. That's psychological control. 4. All-or-nothing thinking. Healthy communities allow nuance. Cults don't. They paint the outside world as evil and themselves as the only truth. This black-and-white narrative is the cornerstone of mind control. Now, how do you break free if you're already entangled? The first step is awareness. Awareness dissolves illusions. Next, seek multiple perspectives. Read. Research. Talk to people outside the circle. True truth doesn't fear questions. Finally, rebuild autonomy. Start making small decisions for yourself. Cult leaders hate autonomy because freedom destroys control. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your greatest weapon is not running away. It's reclaiming the sovereignty of your own thoughts. But before we wrap this up, there's one last thing you need to hear. The ultimate Stoic insight that completely dismantles every cult trick ever created. The Stoic secret that makes you untouchable. Cult leaders manipulate because they know one truth. Most people crave certainty. We fear chaos. We fear being wrong. We fear rejection. So when someone says, "Follow me, and you'll never feel lost again," we listen. But here's what the Stoics understood long before psychology existed. Control over the mind is the highest freedom. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Cult leaders don't steal your freedom physically. They steal it mentally. They plant ideas that make you believe your happiness depends on them. The antidote? Radical self-ownership. Ask yourself these 3 Stoic questions whenever someone tries to influence you. 1. Is this under my control? If not, don't obsess over it. 2. Does this serve my virtue or my ego? If it feeds ego, it's a trap. 3. Can I stand alone if needed? If the answer is no, you've given away your power. The moment you realize you need nothing outside your reasoned choice to live well, every cult trick collapses. They can dangle belonging, you don't need it. They can threaten exclusion, you're already whole. They can promise enlightenment, you already have the light inside you. Marcus Aurelius left us the blueprint for mental invincibility. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your shield. This is your sword. When you master your own mind, no leader, no manipulator, no cult, no trick can own you again. Now, if you found value in this video, share it with someone who needs this strength. And if you want more insights on mastering your mind and spotting manipulation before it happens, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because this is just the beginning of your unbreakable mind. Take a moment and breathe. You just walked through the shadows where cult leaders operate, through the manipulation, the psychology, the mental traps that have broken countless lives. And yet, here you are awake, aware, and stronger than before. Remember this. The greatest defense against control is clarity of mind. Stoicism isn't just ancient philosophy. It's your armor in a world full of influence, half-truths, and emotional traps. Cult leaders win when you forget who you are. They win when you outsource your thinking. They win when you hand them the keys to your soul, because you didn't realize you already had the power all along. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That's not just wisdom. That's a weapon. So, as you step back into your life after this video, choose your thoughts like a warrior chooses his sword. Don't let anyone decide who you are, what you believe, or what you value. That is your sacred ground. If this video opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Someone you know right now could be falling for these same tricks. Share this video with them. Be the reason they wake up before it's too late. And if you want to keep sharpening your mind against the forces that seek to control it, subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the next video will reveal something even more dangerous: how subtle psychological triggers are being used every day by brands, influencers, and even people you trust to make you do things you think are your choice. You don't want to miss that. Until then, stay aware. Stay unbreakable. And remember, the only true master of your mind is you.